legends come to fight. Bodies clashing, dreams ignite under the neon lights. Oh yeah, Pondwater Dave is the voice calling every move. Amy, fun and the trivia getting you in the groove. Oh yeah. Feel the energy, the thunder as the crowd begins to roar. High flying daredevils in a battle like never before. Oh yeah, from the turnbuckle to the mat, the action never stops. Talking wrestling takes you to the top. Oh yeah, feel the energy, the thunder as the crowd begins to roar. High flying daredevils in a battle like never before. Oh yeah, from the turnbuckle to the mat, the action never stops. Talking wrestling takes you to the top. Oh yeah, talking wrestling, it's a wall right from suplexes to body slams. We got it all inside, get ready for excitement, that's on the show. Talking wrestling is ready to throw down. Oh yeah.
Hello and welcome to Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. I'm Pondwater Dave, and Amy's not going to be with us tonight, so I'm going to fly solo. The producer's not here, Amy's not here. It's just genuinely going to be Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave, but I couldn't do it without my very special guest tonight. This is a man that I met day one at wrestling school, and we've been friends ever since. And so much of my early time in the wrestling business was linked to him, and some of the best times in the wrestling business were linked to him. Without further ado, let me welcome him in. This is Kristopher Haiden. Welcome to the show, Chris.
What's up, man? Super Pondwater Dave.
Yeah. Well, when Conrad Thompson gives you a nickname, you can either fight it or just roll with it.
Yeah, you did the smart thing. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think me and you both have done the smart thing of just rolling with nicknames throughout our
Yeah,
careers,
the more you fight, the worse it is.
Exactly, man. Well, shoot, man, I didn't mean to scare off your producer and co-host. Sorry.
Well, the producer's she's watching my granddaughter play softball tonight, so I'm a softball widow when it comes to podcasting.
Well, there you go. Well,
But on the nights I'm not podcasting, I'm right there with them.
hey, yeah, man, that's it, dude. Be a good granddad, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
If I'd have known how great grandkids were, I'd have skipped kids and went straight to them.
Is that what I have to look forward to in the next, I don't know, 20 plus years?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The grandkids are much better than
Grandkids.
That's what my mom tells me all the time.
Grandkids are the reward for putting up with teenagers.
Well, thankfully, I'm not to the teenage stage yet. So,
And you know one of my daughters, so you know why I'm gray.
That's true. Hey, man, Sarah turned out all right for herself.
She's doing just fine. We're talking about my daughter, Sarah Kramer. You can catch her podcast, Wicked Unscripted, with Abigail Adams, and they cover the world of reality television. So they're doing some pretty good things. Y'all ought to go check them out if y'all are into Big Brother and Survivor and all that other stuff. Yeah. So tell me, Chris, what's been going on, man?
Man, not a lot, Dave. Man, I actually took a little break from wrestling. I was dealing with some lower back problems, man, for a lot of 2023, and just trying to get through it, really, man, as much as I could. Turns out I ended up having a slip disc in my one of my lower discs slipped out. So I kind of got to the point to where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna take a step back. I got some home life stuff I need to take care of anyway, and I'm just gonna kind of take a step back from everything and let the injuries heal up and just, enjoy being a dad and a husband for a while. And, hopefully here in the next, couple months or so, but before the end of the year, for sure, I want to try to get back into doing, I got some things lined up, so we'll see how.
Well, good. The last time I saw you, we were in the ring together. Well,
you were, yeah.
The last time I saw you at an event, we were in the ring together.
That's true. We only got a lot that weekend.
We did.
But yeah, the infamous IHWE show, man, at the Ridgely Theater.
Yeah.
You got to be the referee.
I waited all day.
You and me both. You and me both. We all, me, you, and Eagle all showed up at like what, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We're like, we're gonna film videos, we're gonna do all this, we're gonna start the Hall of Fame ceremony at 3. We did none of that.
Yeah, I mean, I did the Hall of Fame ceremony.
That started at 5, which is when the first show was supposed to start.
And really crapped the bed on my speech, but you know, it is what it is. But I'm hanging around the referee, and this thing goes on. I mean, there's 2 shows. There's a hardcore show, and then there's a traditional show.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is the main event. So the saving grace of the whole thing of having to wait that long to get to the ring. And I mean, we were right up to midnight.
Yeah.
But at least I got to do Aaron Eagle and Kristopher Haiden, you know. That was the silver lining. Yeah, I got to hang out back with him. So,
and that's the way I looked at it. You know, I had to wrestle a friend who he had, you know, that was him coming back. I think essentially like was 3rd or 4th match back.
Yeah.
Coming back into the business, you know, I think you had retired, so you were kind of doing some small things here and there. And, you know, I remember being pretty bummed out when you retired the first time originally. It's like, man, Dave, I really need you to ref for me again.
I just needed to step away for a little bit. It's like you said, you know, at some point you're gone all the time, and it hurts, and
yeah,
the family needs to be tended to. And it just, I wanted to share wrestling with my grandkids, and I couldn't do it if I was in the ring.
Yeah. Oh man, it makes all the sense in the world.
And then the first time I took them to a show, I'll never forget. It was in Vicksburg. APOC and Storm came over. You probably heard about the Heritage hoax where they all came down to Vicksburg and hardly anybody got paid. And,
oh, geez.
I mean, everybody got screwed on that show, but it was good. I mean, it was really a good show. And but I'm sitting out there in the crowd, and Storm and Pac came over and spoke to us and talked to the grandkids a little bit. And I'm thinking, halfway through the show, I'm looking at the grandkids like, this is it. I got to go. I got to get back. I called Josh Newell trying to get booked down at PIW.
Yeah, I've had the kid, man. I mean, she's 5 now, so she's starting to kind of be like, you know, hey, like, I know you do this, you know, you did this. I want to watch, like, I want to come see. So definitely, you know, that's kind of giving me the little motivation and kick in the butt to get back in there. So, you know, it's because I knew I wasn't gonna be done, man. You never, let's face it,
Nobody's ever done.
You're never done.
Dory Funk Jr. just had a match where they blew him up in Japan. And I don't mean like he was 82 years old and he got blown up in the ring. I mean, he literally was blown up with explosives.
Funny ring match.
At 82 years old, 82, 83.
Yeah.
Nobody ever stops.
You're never done. So
fingers crossed that Ric Flair never does it again.
At this point, hey, for your, at least for your sake, right?
I'll Nancy Kerrigan that old man. He can't take that away from me.
Man, yeah, dude, that was cool, man. I remember seeing that and just being so happy for you, because I know, I mean, obviously just going back, man, I knew like Flair was your guy. For years. And so
I picked a good time to come back.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. I was really happy for you. You got to do that.
Well, thank you.
That was a moment well deserved.
But you've been going at this for 20 years.
Just about, man. Jeez, made me feel old. I met you when I was a kid, dude. Like,
yeah, you were.
Like I remember the first night I met you, man. I think it was you, and I'm pretty sure Ike was there too. Your brother. I think you guys.
I don't think Ike came with me at first.
You sure?
Well, maybe he was with me when you started coming in. I could have swore that you were there with me and BJ on night 1.
I don't know if I was there on night 1. Maybe it was night 2 or 3. Either way,
I wasn't alone getting in the ring.
Yeah, you weren't? Okay. I mean,
I believe you were there.
Maybe I was. I remember BJ telling me, he was like, yeah, I got this guy. He's a little older, but, you know, he wants to train. And, you know, I came in, and sure enough, I come in, I see you, little 5 foot, 7, 8 running the ropes. I'm like, all right, okay. Like, he says he's older, but he got a little spring in that step. And, man, hopped up in there to run the ropes with you. And then I think about 2 runs in, clank, there goes the top rope.
Yeah. The spring's gone now.
Yeah. Oh, the spring's gone.
The spring is gone. I'm this close to adopting the Bronco Lubitsch style of refereeing.
Oh man, we got a ref down here. I don't know if you ever met Bump Caldwell.
I know Bump.
Yeah, Bump.
I've worked with Bump.
He'll get down onto his like hands and knees and barely get down and hits 1, 2, and using the ropes to pull himself back up.
Well, I'm coming off a knee surgery.
Oh,
and I just got back in the ring weekend before last, and I had to use the ropes a couple times to get up because I can get down. It's just and it's even 2 weeks later, it's much better. But it's definitely the getting up process, I think, for anybody in the wrestling business. But I told the promoter, I said, don't be surprised if I said, you'll know it's going bad for me if I just stand there and start stomping my foot or counting. I saw an old Mid-Atlantic. We watched some old Mid-Atlantic, and it's not like it was ever on television. This was like 8mm footage of somebody sitting in the crowd, filming the wrestling matches. And they had this referee, and he was wearing like a mustard colored like jumpsuit, like old men used to wear, the polyester jumpsuits, and that's what he was refereeing in. But I mean, I swear he just walked over and he was counting, pointing down 1, 2. He wasn't even getting down. And I'm like, I'm gonna do that one of these days, and I've got to find one of those mustard jumpsuits.
You know what, man? I'll strike a deal with you. My last match can be your last match. You can count just like that. That's what we'll do.
Deal.
So, man, I know, like, when I came up, you obviously started out training to be a wrestler. I know we're kind of flipping the script here, but you started out training to be a wrestler. And I can't remember what made you decide to jump into doing refereeing instead.
Man, I tried to become a referee when I was a kid.
Right.
Like at 18 years old, I was down at Doug's Gym in downtown Dallas trying to, I heard wrestlers worked out there, and I got ran off. It just wasn't. And I wanted to be a referee. I wanted to be David Manning. I mean, I knew I was a little guy. Little guys didn't wrestle back then. I mean, they were few and far between. And for me, after I got through talking to Mike Page and Joey Corman over dinner one night, them telling me road stories and how horrible it all was, I couldn't wait to go to wrestling school. And what had happened was Stephen Murphy. Murphy was a personal trainer with my brother. They worked together, and we came to PCW Uncut one Friday night. And I saw Gigolo James Johnson, who's my size.
Yeah.
And there was a few other guys on the card that, they were kind of my size. And I'm like, yeah. Now, I mean, wrestling's changed. And I'd always wanted to do it. So after talking to Page and Corman, Page told me to go to PCW. I go out there. They had good trainers. I wouldn't get hurt. They take good care of me. And they teach me right. So that's when I went to wrestling school. And it wasn't until I was training with Lance. And Lance's approach, Lance wasn't just there to make me, because everybody was guaranteed a match.
Right.
You're going to at least get one match. I never got to that but what had happened was I had left, that marriage was falling apart. I had dyed my hair to hide the gray so I didn't look like you guys' father. And Lance was training at the time. And when I came back, I'd shaved all that color out of my hair. So when I came back, I got it's a little gray in my beard and gray in my hair. And Lance finally looked at me and said, "How old are you?" And I told him I was 42. And he said, he goes, "Well, I'm not telling you can't wrestle. I'm just saying that it's my job to try to teach you how to make money in the wrestling business. And you can certainly wrestle, and I'm not trying to discourage you, but your path as a referee would probably be, he encouraged me on how to make it in the wrestling business.
Right.
But if I wanted to wrestle, it was fine. And by that time, I realized that I'd have been okay, But I mean, let's face it, in 2005, 2006, even 7 and 8, there was some what you would refer to as shit shows in Texas.
2024, it's still around.
But it's not like it used to be.
No.
But I mean, everybody, Tax Time Championship Wrestling. There was some real shit shows. And hey, some of those were good to go to just because you got ring time and experience and you knew what you were getting into. My thing is that I wouldn't have been the worst guy on the show, but I felt like pursuing it as a wrestler, I was going to do the business more harm than I was good.
Right.
And that's when they were going to make me a heel referee at PCW because SPW was doing the invasion. Page and his group were coming in, and they asked me, Richard and Lance were going to make me a heel referee. Well, they threw me on Uncut, and I refereed for Michael Faith and Ryan Davidson. That's the match I did on Uncut. And then after that, they like, let's don't make him a heel. Let's just work with him at being a referee. And so that's what I wanted to do anyway. And once I refereed a match, I was all in. And, fortunately I had Terry there and Roger. There was some really good referees to help me along.
Yeah.
At PCW and Travis Trueborn. I mean, everybody was, nobody was, I mean, they were just as helpful to me as all the wrestlers. And then, we go to training. I could still work out with you guys, learn how to take bumps. I always liked it. And then I got to do the matches and training, and I loved it. And that's where, it's what I always wanted anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, man, I can tell you straight off, like, you were easily probably one of my favorite referees to work with then, for sure. I mean, especially in those early days of Uncut, because we didn't really, I think Roger did Uncut and you did Uncut, and I mean, love Roger, God bless him. But I guess me and you we just connected, man. We just clicked. And so there's something about like having you as my referee a lot that I was like, yeah, that's who I got. That's who I need.
That locker room was fun. And there was a group of us and we all got really tight. And so it was always fun working together wherever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, man, we did, doing that. And then obviously, you fast forward to FEW, a few years later out in Tyler. And, now you're getting behind the mic, dude, which is, we had even more fun out there doing all that,
Oh, God. We'll get there. We'll get there. Let me pull this overlay down.
Oh, wow.
We actually refereed a show together.
Oh, we did. That was it was the one that Tim Robinson, it was his promotion. American Made Wrestling, I think, right?
And Scott oh God, man, why is his name going away from me?
Scott Murdoch?
No, not Murdoch. He was a wrestler.
Scott
and then
Summers?
Not Scott Summers. Man, I looked this up right before we got started to refresh my memory. He refereed with us, but he threw off the referee shirt and turned on the guy in the main event. And neither one of us knew that was coming.
Oh, man.
We got swerved by the promoter on that. But yeah, doing a AMW for Tim was a great.
Yeah, man, I completely.
Those shows were fun, and Tim.
They were.
Tim's always. I'm surprised he's not in the chat over here. He's finally got wrestling belts made for that promotion.
Yeah. He actually, I saw him, man. I was doing a King of Sports show. They kind of run that same area that Tim did. And so Tim lives in the area. He came out to one about a year ago, and I talked to him, man, for a little bit. He was showing me the belts he was getting made, and he sent me pictures on Facebook, man, and they look good. They look great.
Oh, they're incredible. And what he's got planned for the women's belt.
Oh, that's looking good too.
I can't wait to see it. because I know what the concept is. And I told him, I said, I wouldn't be surprised. I said, that he'll try to promote one more time just to use them.
Man.
I will drive to Texas and work that show for free.
Yeah. I'll do another one of his shows, man. He did some good stuff too, and I know he talked about, you know, maybe trying to merge in with that King of Sports, maybe try to help out with that a little bit, maybe try, I think, get his foot back in the door. And I told him, I said, dude, go for it, man. It's because that show, King of Sports Wrestling, man, they have like a connection with all these schools up in like Northeast Texas, so like that Paris area and Commerce and all that. So he runs these junior highs and these high schools. He runs during the school season. So man, like these shows just pack out, you know, and it's amazing because it's like all the promotions done through the school. So it's
yeah,
just, you
anytime you can get in on one of those school shows, that's always good because I mean those are I mean they support their schools. It's a built-in crowd.
Yeah, definitely. So that's
McKenzie.
McKenzie. Okay.
It was gonna eat me up.
God, McKenzie. Wow, how did I forget that name? I love Scott. But yeah, what's so funny is like you say that now you say Scott McKenzie, it doesn't surprise me that he turned at the end of that night. But you know,
but we didn't. Nobody saw. They kayfabed us in the back.
Wow, here's
a picture.
There we go. That's
this is my favorite era of Kristopher Haiden.
The Genesis.
Era. You and Arcane.
This right here is where I think I started coming really into my own. Like, I know I went out to East Texas a lot, you know, that's kind of where I cut my teeth at, you know, minus uncut. But like, you know, they turned me heel, and I kind of felt like when I turned heel, I was able to kind of, you know, be, I don't know if I want to say myself, but I was able to kind of really take the reins. I felt more comfortable in it. But it wasn't until me and Arcane started teaming, man, as Genesis, that I was like, you know, that's when I felt like I hit the ground running.
Yeah. And you know, and y'all had Claudia with you.
Yeah, she didn't manage us much, but she managed us a few times. You know, God rest her soul.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, for the most part, it was me, Arcane, and Kyle, especially during those early years. And I mean, man, the three of us, dude, we just clicked. Like it was like peanut butter and jelly, you know. And
yeah, you kind of intertwined with Kyle a lot. I mean, because the first time I saw you, I was actually in the crowd at a PCW show, and y'all were the Schoolboy Rockers.
Oh, God, the Schoolhouse Rockers.
The Schoolhouse Rockers, and y'all got jumped, and Kyle jumped the guardrail and ran. And I told Paige, because Paige was with me, and I told Paige, I said, he's going to turn on him. I had no idea that he was really going to.
Oh man, that was
because he got out of there too quick. It was cool.
Well, it was probably Kyle like shoot being scared too, and just trying to leave.
I've seen that. Remember that time they threw him in that battle royal at the bazaar? No, it wasn't at the bazaar. It was for Fuller though.
Was it Fuller? Was it the Conan? Was it that Conan benefit?
He wasn't in the battle royal for the Conan.
No,
benefit.
He wasn't. But I do got a funny story about that, which we'll get to here in a minute. But he did a battle royal for Fuller.
Yeah, he just hung on the bottom rope the whole match. But I mean, not because he was trying to stay in. He just didn't want to get hit.
He just didn't want to get hit.
He didn't want to go over top rope.
Probably because he wouldn't have been able to go over the top rope. Oh man, yeah. Kyle in battle royals and everything. I mean, me and him have been entwined too, like crazy. But you know, we went to high school together, so I've known Kyle for a long time. I knew him before, you know, I technically broke in. And but yeah, man, we did. I don't know if you remember. You remember that Conan benefit, that PCW?
I do. I actually worked the door for it.
Oh, you did. You didn't ref that.
I wasn't in yet.
You went. Oh, you weren't in.
Well,
yet.
no, I was in the wrestling school, but I wasn't. I just started the wrestling school, but I wasn't refereeing yet.
Oh, you know, yeah, because I guess that would have been really early on.
And Paige got me to work the door for it.
Okay, that's right, because Paige was the one who booked the show.
Right.
And yeah, so I remember he did that battle royal, man, and I remember I think Katera was supposed to win. Chris Katera supposed to go over in the battle.
There's a blast from the past,
right? And and I'm thinking, okay, cool, whatever. I'm like 3 months into the business, so I'm like, I'm just happy to be a part of the show. And I'm in this battle royal, and I remember they wanted it coming down to like, I think it was, man, I can't remember who it was supposed to come down to Katera, and I think maybe Mark Orton, and I don't remember everything. And thanks, Tim. How's it going, bud? And anyway, I don't remember like who I was supposed to come down to, but I remember I had this spot planned where I was going to get eliminated because Kyle was out there. I swear Kyle was in it. Maybe he wasn't, but he was out at ringside with me. And I remember like he goes down for some reason outside, and we had this whole thing planned where I was going to like reach over the top rope and try to like help him up or whatever. I think he was on the apron. And as I did, he was going to pull me over. We were going to laugh, hug about it, go to the back. That was going to be it, right? Bear in mind, 3 months in, I don't know anything from anything at this point. I go to reach down to grab Kyle's hand for him to pull me over. Wally runs by and pants Kyle. I mean, bare ass and all. Just pulls his sweatpants down. Kyle has to go under the ring. So like I go, like I'm about to get eliminated. Well, there goes my elimination spot. I'm like, oh no. I turn around, I look, and it's like me and Katera, the only two in the ring, and I'm going, I don't know what to do. The funny thing was, I turn around, and because I've kind of established myself in Uncut those last few months, the crowd starts chanting Chris. And like Katera had been there, but he only been there like 2 other times, right? So like, I don't think he wasn't enough to be established by that crowd yet.
Yeah.
And then chanting Chris, and Katera looks around. He starts like gloating, like, "Yeah, I'm Chris." And I'm thinking to myself, like, "Buddy, I'm pretty sure they're cheering for me because I'm the baby face, but I don't know what I'm doing." I just like ran at him, and I was like, "Throw me out!"
Speaking of not knowing what to do, I'm going to bring this up because we can laugh about it now. It was a learning experience. We had a match. It was you versus Frankie. Y'all had fallen apart. Schoolhouse Rockers had broken up.
I already know where you're going.
Yeah, and I'm brand new referee, so I'm out there with y'all, and y'all won't go home.
Oh, I know. And I kept telling Frankie, I'm like, Frankie, we got to go home.
And I'm telling them, hey, the light, because at PCW they had this light at the beer light at the back where you could see it from the ring. Like, and they turned the light off and on, it was time to go home. And I'm telling you, I'm begging them, let's go. And I don't know enough to know to disqualify them, count 3, whether they're whatever. They send the Brown brothers out.
Oh man,
to get them,
and the Brown brothers being like the nicest guys in the world, just get in the ring and they're like, guys, you have to go home. We really don't want to beat you up.
And Richard told him to go out there and kill him.
Yeah,
Richard was pissed.
Oh man, and I'm like, dude, and I'm not trying to like defend myself, but I mean, I'm in the ring and I'm telling him, because I mean, Frankie had this whole match like scripted out. And like that blue light hit, and I'm just like, dude, we have to go, because I didn't want to get in trouble. I mean, again, you're looking at, I mean, maybe a year in by this point. I'm probably a year in or so. So I'm still at that stage where I'm like, I don't want to get in trouble, man. Like let's just cut it and let's go. Let's cut ties and go home. And man, he was like, keep going. And of course, I'm like, well, whatever, dude. You're the vet. Like, you've been doing this longer than me, so I'm listening to him, man. And they came out and
well, ain't nobody listening to me.
Before they got a chance to touch us, thank God, we just did the finish, which I don't even remember what the finish is at this point.
I don't remember how it ended. I just knew that was a long walk back up that ramp.
And I got in the back, and I remember like, I think on the finish, though, I did like knock the wind out of myself, and I got in the back, and Richard yelled at me, and I went, I don't care, man, I'm sorry. And I went upstairs and just like, I laid like face down and tried to get the wind to suffer back through. But
I remember getting my ass chewed that you got to do this. You can't ignore that. You got to do this. And I want to say that Mike Fox came and talked to me. And I want to say, I can't remember. I know that two of the wrestlers, and it might have been BJ, came over and talked to me, explaining what happens on a show when it goes long and how now time's got to be cut off. And this was uncut. I mean, this was the school show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all learning, but uncut got more popular than the main show.
Yeah, it did. There was a while there that it was really popular. It was really striding pretty hard. But
look at this guy.
Yeah, there we go. That was the MPX champion right there.
Yeah, got your suit and tie on, and that was at the old building where we had to move all the equipment.
Yep, every show, man, you had to move equipment out of the way and then move it right back. Everybody
that listens to this show is familiar with Metroplex because we've had so much of their talent on here, and but then their old building, it was a gym, and you had to move the weight benches and the leg presses and everything out of the way to put in. People could bring their own chairs, and it was hotter than hell, but it was a fun environment.
I would say that vibe though, that building, man, that building had something to it, man. That just like a lot of memories in that building.
Yeah. Whenever you have a show where people are that I mean, I know for a while there they had to knock they were PCW Part 2, but they got out of that shadow.
Yeah, they definitely did.
I mean, there'll never be another building as good as that one we had at PCW at the old movie theater.
Man, yeah.
That place was made for wrestling.
It was. And the fact that they were like able to turn that, how they were able to build that floor too, so that way they can put the ring and have the ring be level.
Yeah.
Then you had those pits off to the side, and there we go.
This sucked for you.
Which part, Arcane or mine?
Well, I got squashed here. Haiden had already whipped me into the ropes, and now he's going to whip Arcane in, because what had happened in this match is I had jumped up on Hayden's back and I used a stethoscope to choke him, and he backed me into the corner, and I collapsed on the apron. Well, we screwed him and won. And my daughter, Sarah, our nurse Ophelia Payne, she came over and she was waking me up on the ring apron saying, we won. I rolled in the ring and got real obnoxious, jumping up and down. But the problem was my guys were on the floor. And then I backed up into Chris, and I'm like, oh man, because I'm looking at my guys on the floor, so I know they're not in the ring with me. I turn around, he kicks me in the gut, grabs me, slings me into the corner. Arcane sandwiches me in the corner. I stagger out.
and I
line from hell.
I folded you over.
Ass over tea kettle.
I took it easy on you.
Well, you caught the worst of it because I cowered like a little bitch and put my arms up. So you clotheslined my arms, and I think I hurt your arm a little bit.
Oh man!
But they laid me out, and the crowd liked that because they did not like me.
Yeah, I remember that same match, man. I think we had medic number 1. We were getting ready to do a move to him, and he looked up and he goes, "Take it easy on me, fellas. I'm old." I'll let you realize which one medic number 1 was the one who was easy enough to move around.
Yeah, I always thought Paige was 1 and Corman was 2.
Oh, I didn't know you were just gonna break kayfabe there.
Oh well, yeah. Paige pulled the curtain back.
Nah,
he's been on here. There's that night that you wrestled Eagle.
Yep, that's it, man. That's probably I'd say that shot was probably taken at about 12:15 midnight.
It was way past my bedtime.
Oh man, yeah. That was a long night. That was a fun night though, man. Don't get me wrong. It was fun.
Oh, fortunately I was hyped up, so the drive home wasn't that bad. Well, the drive to my daughter's house wasn't that bad.
Yeah, let's say, because you stayed that weekend. We hung out, I think, either the next night or 2 nights later.
Yeah, you were at Gillies.
Yeah. I went
Y'all
to
came
Conrad.
to y'all came to Conrad's show at Gillies. There we are out there with Texas Red.
Yep. Yeah,
Bear, he's a good guy.
I love that dude, man. I miss him. Oh, dude, that's a good one right there.
Yeah.
You need to send that one to me.
It's on your Facebook.
Is it on my Facebook?
Yeah.
I'll have to go hunt that one down. Man.
Yeah. I saw that. I thought I wasn't trying to show, but unfortunately Silver's no longer with us. He's
I was gonna say, that one gives me a little bit of goosebumps, man. That's some.
But this had to have been at the Parade of Champions.
Is that the Parade of Champions or
no? Was this in Crowley? Was this? Oh no! This is the night the lights went out in Crowley.
That's right, and all the crowd was holding up their cell phones.
Yeah. Oh man, this is the coolest. This might be one of the coolest nights of professional wrestling. We had Jax Dane in the house, NWA World Heavyweight Champion. We had Raymond Rowe, half of the at the time Ring of Honor tag team champions with
Hanson.
With Hanson, the War Machine, and y'all see them on Raw now as the Viking Raiders. And somebody had a wreck, and they hit a power terminal, and it knocked the lights out. And the crowd used their cell phone lights, camera lights, and we were out there pretty much just in a very dimly lit gym. But Jax Dane and Raymond Rowe rallied the locker room and said, "These people paid to see this. Let's go out there and let's do the best we possibly can." I think Charlie Haas was on this show too.
I think Charlie was there. I don't remember if he wrestled or no, he did. Charlie, yeah, you're right. Charlie was there.
I think Charlie wrestled Jax, and I can't remember who Raymond Rowe wrestled, but I know it was during the NWA time because I was wearing that shirt where the patch was as big as I was.
So yeah, that was,
and that's Izzy James.
Yep. So it was. I think that was me, and I want to say I was teaming up with Kenny Steele in this, and it was me and him against. I think Izzy was out there and Silver. I don't know if that was like more teams or not, but I do. I mean, I remember that. Giving the new term to a real dark match right there.
Yeah. It was a really special night. That may, that out of all the shows I've ever done for Fuller, that might be one of my. I think that is my favorite one. Even the Parade of Champions, just the atmosphere that a whole locker room pulled together and rose the occasion under those kind of circumstances, and nobody left there disappointed that night.
No, man, no, and I mean there you go. That was from Conrad's show.
Yeah, that was right after Chris told me that when I slapped the shit out of him at that one where y'all took my head off, that he really did want to jump out of the ring with my ass. He said he was pissed.
That's all right. It's not hard to get that guy riled up. So.
Well, I did. In fairness, and I watched the video because I was going to see if I could have got the video off of YouTube and played a little of it. I saw the spot and I did.
Was that wasn't the take two of these and call me in the morning, was it?
No, Sarah had slapped him. Joey had put him through the ropes and then pulled the ref. And Sarah just gave him a little, just barely touched him, and it looked really bad.
And you're like, "No, this is how you do it."
Well, then I babyfaced Sarah to the crowd after that, though, because they didn't like me talking to her that way. Because I kind of, because that's when I told that woman hey, look, lady, I don't go to your job interrupting you while you're yelling scattered, smothered, covered, and chunked. You don't come here and interrupt me while I'm doing my job. She was pissed.
Dude, I remember
that was so much fun. I gotta tell you, and y'all are the reason. Y'all were so good to me when I got to manage the medics. And to this day, that is the most fun I've ever had in the wrestling business. And it's probably top 3 things I've done in my life. Being able to that run is Dr. Phil D. Payne, and it was intertwined. We debuted against Genesis. Most of our matches were against Genesis, and it was the absolute best time of my life. And
It's because we just got to have fun, man. Like there was really no pressure when I think we were all four out there together because we knew each other. We knew we weren't going to go out there and do anything complicated. It's like, just go have fun. Let Dave get on the mic and talk some trash like he does. And I remember, man, that first night, dude, y'all came in and laid us out.
Yeah, that was take two of these and call me in the morning.
You kicked us twice.
Well, you know, he didn't even tell me I was going to cut a promo. It was right before we went through the curtain. He said, "Oh, also, we grab the mic and cut a promo," and he didn't give me time to think about it. And if you go back and watch it on YouTube, it kind of, I mean, I'm not ashamed of it. I thought, you know, for the first time, I thought it was okay. But I want to bring the doctor back so bad. We got a guy that wrestles down here, the Nightmare Jeremiah. And I'd love, he said that this next year, it's going to be his last year. And I think the Dr. Phil D. Payne with someone that's as mental as the Nightmare Jeremiah would work one more time.
Well, you know, maybe that might be your calling, man, when you're not able to get up and down on that referee count anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Because that has, you know, as the manager, you don't have to get beat up now. Just remember that. You don't have to. So you can.
Well, as the referee, I don't have to, but I still ask him.
You got to get up and down a lot more as a referee than you do as a manager. So.
Yeah. But it's kind of a curse down here that the indies are kind of, and it's better than it used to be. We got a lot of great referees now. It used to, I mean, if you had a referee, moving him into any kind of different position was unheard of. But you get pigeonholed if you're a good referee. They don't want you to do anything else. Man,
you know, so I was just thinking about some other stories. There you go. That's a good one. That's a lot of good lighting and some heavy editing there. So I'll take it.
Hey, you look like a killer there, man.
I was trying to, man. I was trying to. That was the sword. He put that North American Championship, which obviously looks like the there you go. I think you have it.
I've got one behind me.
And the Mid-Atlantic North American Championship, very much so designed afterwards, man. That was a cool belt. The only thing about that belt was it that center plate and those side plates are so damn heavy, man, that the bolts would come unglued. I'd have to keep gluing them back together. But other than that, man, it was a nice belt. And I remember,
you know, everybody thinks that belt, that everybody says that belt, that the Mid-South North American,
not Mid-Atlantic,
that they used back in the day. Everybody wants to say that belt weighed 20 pounds. I've held the real one. It weighs about 12, 13 pounds. It's not heavy. I mean, it's just the way, but the everybody that makes them always makes them so thick that you got to wear a weight belt to carry them. Yeah. Was that the one that you were going to Kansas to defend?
Yeah, I took that up to Kansas. I was going to take it over to Europe whenever I went, but he had me drop it like 2 weeks before, which in hindsight, I was like, there's less stuff I had to put in my carry-on. So, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, that's the one I took up to Kansas. I took it to quite a few different promotions and defended it. But that was holding that one, man, was real cool because that was a real pretty title. Yeah.
Wrestling belts in the indies came a long way.
Yeah, they have.
Because used to everybody would, you know, just get a toy and put stickers on it, or
they get the old replica or whatever, and
or they'd go to a trophy shop, I do a belt commercial on here every week for a guy that's making them. He's making them for all. I mean, there's no reason that an independent promotion can't have a decent belt now.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, dude, they take pride in their titles, you know?
Yes.
I mean, because that's kind of what sells your product too. You know, if you have a bad looking title, I mean, I think people are going to notice that, and you don't want to look cheap while also, you know, stating that I fined him $5,000 last month for hitting a referee. And then he comes out with his replica WWF World Championship. It's like, man, dude, ain't nobody got $5,000. You got $5. So, like, you know, stop. But
yeah, when I showed up at PCW, I brought belts.
Yeah, you did.
Let's upgrade these belts, Richard.
Yeah. So
Y'all can use mine while I'm here.
And man, that's what it's the only, man, that was my only gripe with PCWs. It took them a while to get on the belt train. But
yeah,
once they did, they started taking pride in theirs too. And then I know you brought yours, which helped out. But man,
hey, Tim used to rent them. Tim would rent them from me for his show, and my belts made more money than I did.
Man, that's how Scotty Master Blaster was.
Yeah,
same way. He was like, man, I'd rent my belts out, dude. It's like either
that's how I met
out of it, or
that's how I met Paige, was through belts.
Right.
I knew Scotty Master Blaster through belts. It's just the belt community. That's how I knew Conrad was through belts. I mean, wrestling belts are what brought me, to it.
Yeah.
So,
and Scotty's still, man, he's getting some good ones done too. He did a Johnny Valentine Texas title that actually has a picture of Johnny's face like in the center of it. It looks really cool. And
Johnny Valentine used to have one of those.
Really?
Greg actually owns that belt. I don't know if I don't know if anybody was ever able to buy it from him. I know he didn't want to sell it. He'd been offered a few times. But let's talk. We've talked about your career, but what got you into it? What was your fandom, and how did you went to PCW school, right?
I did. Yeah. So I mean,
tell us how you got in. What made you decide to do it?
Obviously, man, I grew up an Attitude Era kid. Born in '88, so of course my fandom didn't really come until I was about 8 or 9, whenever that really started kicking off, and gravitated towards Steve Austin and all those guys, and dude, just at first, man, it was really something like when I was that young, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it because I don't want to get hurt. But, of course, you play wrestling with your friends out in the backyard. You're on the trampoline doing all your stuff. And, dude, I just kind of started to get that bug. I was like, man, I want to do this, and my other friends, Macho Mike, for instance, who I grew up with, he was like, yeah, dude, like, let's do this. And we got into local wrestling, and we just came across it one night on TV. And I think it was actually NWA Southwest that ran out of Richland Hills out here in Dallas.
Yeah.
We came across them first, and then we came across PCW on UPN, and it was like, whoa. And like, nothing against NWA Southwest, but the production from Southwest to PCW was like night and day, right? And PCW just blew it out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
So, we really gravitated towards PCW, and then we find out they're in Arlington. It's like, well, shit, man, that's 10, 15 minutes down the road. So we started going, and we'd watch, like, we went like almost every weekend, man. That was our Saturday thing, dude. We'd go watch wrestling. And ended up finding out, again, went to high school with Kyle Davis. Kyle was doing event staff. So I asked him, like, hey, man, how do I get into it? Because I was 16 at the time. So I wasn't old enough to start training. I probably could have if I, most kids are training out 14. But at the time I didn't know. I figured you had to be 18. So, was like, how do I get into it, man? I really want to do this. And, so of course he introduced me to all the right people up there. I don't think it was the bussies. I don't think I met the bussies, but I met whoever was headed security. And they're like, yeah, come over here next Saturday. Be here at 4:00. So sure enough, man, I started out doing that, and then Mike jumped on with me a couple weeks later, and again, that was our Saturday. It became our Friday and Saturday thing at that point because they were doing uncut. So every Friday and Saturday, dude, we go and we do event staff, man, help set up chairs, and
were they already in the new building, or were they still over at the mall?
They're still at the mall. Well,
okay.
They were at the building behind the mall.
Right.
So they weren't like in the mall. They weren't in the mall whenever I started going. They were at the building behind it. And so, that's how we got into it. And then obviously, time goes on. And it's like, all right, like, this is what we want to do, man. Let's start training, and they had the school, but then the school shut down. So they didn't have a school for a while. And I remember there was one night on a Saturday, man, after the show, it was me and Mike and a few other guys just hung around afterwards. And we all got in the ring. We're just in the ring, just messing around. Like, I mean, I'd already learned how to take a bump. Actually, Scotty Master Blaster taught me how to take my first bump. So I'd already known how to take a bump, and I kind of learned how to run the ropes just by watching those guys do it. And so we, man, we just mess around. And I remember one night, man, Mike Bussey came up there and he wasn't mad. He was like, "Oh man, you guys just, be careful, but have fun." And then kind of took us all off to the side and was like, we're getting ready to open the school back up. And Lance is going to be the head trainer. So, of course that piqued our interest. And
Lance Archer, who's he's talking about.
Sorry, AEW star Lance Archer. And so school opens up, man, and me and him, we paid our tuition, thankfully a little discounted tuition since we already did event stuff there. And, that's how it started, man. The rest was history. We just, we trained, and, I was, surprised that I had done as well as I did, man. I really didn't have much of a sports. I did have a sports background, but really, like, after sixth grade, man, when I went into junior high, I sports kind of became like, I don't really care. My mind was focused on wrestling. Like, how do I do that? So
Tim wants to know what year that was. He started in 06.
I started training in 04, had my first match in 06. So I remember Tim coming in.
I do too.
And so, but yeah, so Tim came in to train. I think by that point, I was either getting ready to start shows or I'd already started shows. I made my debut in October of 2006.
Yeah, I remember Tim came in. Blue was there.
Yep.
There's so many other, just the guys that were already wrestling, working out.
Palmer, I think, had started training by that point.
Palmer, Athena showed up. Gigolo was in there regularly with us.
Yeah, Wally, and Turner kind of, I think, around the time I debuted, I think Turner had already kind of made his exit and was doing more W stuff. But I remember Wally and it's, they were pretty much the primary guys who ran it. Evans would
Robert Evans, and
he'd run some classes.
I think Robert Evans was showing up pretty regular to work out with Palmer.
Yeah.
Then him and Wally, when Lance was gone, him and Wally were running it.
Yeah. So those guys.
And Burger. Let's not forget Burger.
Oh man, Burger. Do you remember the night? I know we're kind of drifting off course a bit, but do you remember the night that we did the restart show and I wrestled Burger?
Yeah.
I think he was doing regrub at the time, so he was doing the evil clown.
Which is Burger spelled backwards.
Which is Burger spelled backwards. You didn't know.
Let me tell everybody, man, this guy wanted it. There's no, I'm not dogging. I mean, he was a character, and I'm not dogging him because I like Eric. But BJ looked at him and said, "Your name is Burger." And then when he came out, he went and got him a spatula and an apron.
Dude,
he was a big fella.
He was.
But I mean, he
embraced it.
But I mean, BJ said, "You're Burger," and he was Burger. And I mean, he went and got the spatula and the apron, and I mean, he would dance, and it reminded me a lot of Bugsy McGraw when me and Ike were kids. But Burger got over.
Yeah.
And he went as far with it as he could and turned it into, and then he became Regrub, the evil clown.
Yep. And I remember that night they did the restart show, and it was me and Burger Regrub, and it was that first show. So I remember Richard had this whole thing of like, it's like, he's gonna go over, and then you guys come to the back. It was essentially like the dark match.
Right.
We were at the pre-show. He's like, he'll go over or whatever, and then you come to the back. LaMotta's gonna go out. LaMotta's gonna sneak one over on Mike Fox, win the title. Buskies are gonna get mad, restart the show. So it's like, all right, cool. And so we go out there, we do, we restart the show, and then me and Burger go out and have another match essentially set up for the same finish. This time I see it coming, so I move, end up getting the win on him. And then the whole Mike Fox, the LaMotta thing, actually went on main. So I don't really know the whole point of restarting the show if they were just going to move the match. But hey, whatever. Funny story, right? But I remember that Burger after he wins that first one. I'm selling in the corner, and you're over there talking to me. I think you're helping me up or whatever. And I can see it out of the corner of my eye, man. He goes over to the rowdy section where all those kids were. And he went to lunge at him to scare him. And that guardrail gave way. And he went face first down in front of all those kids. God, those kids didn't have fast reflexes, man. One of the we would not be sitting here laughing about that right now because who knows?
Yeah, it is wardrobe malfunctions.
It is wardrobe malfunctions. Oh man, that was. I love the guy, man. I really do. He has a heart. He has a heart of gold.
Oh
man.
yeah.
I saw him last time I saw him. I went to go see Metallica when they were at Dallas last year, and I was by the floor. I wasn't on the floor, but I was right by the floor, man. My father-in-law, his company had suite tickets, so we got to sit in a field level suite. And Burger was on the floor, and I saw him, man, and then just talked to him for a few minutes. And that dude went and bought me a shirt off the merch stand, just out of just the kindness of his heart. And
Genuinely, dude.
Yeah, he really is, man. He really is, and I got nothing but nice things to say about him. But
we did a match in training one time, and we did the Hogan. We did the Hogan Andre. We did Hogan Andre WrestleMania 3.
Oh man! So you body slammed him?
Yeah, well, I tried. Well, we did it up until that point, but then when I got him up, I fell back. I never slammed him because it didn't make. We had a good time. We were trying to tell a story.
Yeah, there you go.
Lance didn't hate
it. That's all that matters.
Lance didn't hate it. He saw what we were trying to do.
But yeah, dude, that was a lot of fun times, man. But yeah, man, coming through that school, it was all those guys, and then obviously, debuted in 06, and like I said, man, I didn't really hit my stride. It took me a while to really hit my stride, man. I think going out to Marshall for Mike Page's promotion, I cut my teeth out there a lot, and and that just that's really where I kind of was able, I think, to discover like, okay, who is this guy? And then they went with the heel turn, and that, I think just completely, let me get this light on in here.
I think the heel turn helped you a lot.
The heel turn definitely did. The heel turn, I think, is what made it, is what was able to let me set myself apart, because I just tapped into something different. It's like, I coming up through like high school, man, I was kind of the kid that got bullied a lot. Like I didn't really, I was always afraid to fight back because of the repercussions. Like, not saying I got beat up, but like I got picked on.
Right.
So, I think kind of being a heel, I was able to kind of tap into like either, like those people who like, man, those are the people like that. I didn't like those people. If I didn't like them, then if I could be like them to these other people, and maybe I won't get liked, and so I kind of tapped into a lot of that. And, of course, again, then Arcane came out there, and me and him started teaming up and running with the Genesis thing. And that just, again, that was right there. That was, I think, where, that was like that's the peak. That's where I get it now, and being in a tag team, it's a lot different than being a singles wrestler, and it's just, but it's like, I don't know, man. It's like that helps.
Y'all clicked. I don't ever remember seeing when it didn't flow. I mean, it didn't look like y'all didn't look like two guys that were thrown together. Y'all were a classic tag team.
Yeah.
That worked together perfectly.
Yeah, and it helped out because, I mean, I think that eventually when I started doing singles again, I felt like I was a lot more comfortable with what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like when I first turned heel, like I said, I think it helped me out, but I was trying to be like a cocky heel. And I realized, like, man, I'm not cocky. I don't do cocky. I mean, I did cocky okay, but I didn't do cocky the way I needed to do cocky. But teaming with Arcane, I was like, man, we're not cocky. So look at this dude. This dude's a, dark, evil, menacing, like, so I can't be cocky and cool, sunglasses and all that. Like, I got to lose all that. And then I kind of started tapping into this, like, dude, I'm a big dude. I hit hard, just go out there and be a bully, but dude, you're not being a cocky bully. I'm the bully who's going to take your lunch money. I'm going to beat you up and take your lunch money. And you're not going to get it back.
Right.
So I think that, we just coming together like that, man, we just really just clicked. And it just, again, you throw Kyle into the mix and you couldn't ask for a better trio, in my opinion. I mean, minus ZZ Top, but you couldn't ask for a better trio. I know you get a pop off that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, doing just, that was a lot of fun, and traveling, man, we traveled the whole state together, matches with the Briscoe brothers. Gosh, man, who else did we get to wrestle?
I did the research. Y'all have a win. You got a win over the Von Erichs in Texas.
I did, but that wasn't with Arcane. That was with APOC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Denton, nonetheless.
I know. You beat the Von Erichs. And then you were in a tag team match with the Dudley Boys and War Machine. A 3-way tag team match.
Me and Scott McKenzie against the Dudley Boys and War Machine. You want to talk about, one thing, one of these is not like the other. Let me tell you about that match.
Well, I mean, one of them is arguably, you could make an argument that they probably could be considered. I don't think they're the greatest tag team of all time, but they're top 5.
They're up there. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't like them, you got to respect what they did.
Yeah. And
I mean, I'm not dogging them.
And I can tell you right now, those guys hit hard. Like, I thought I hit hard. Those guys hit hard. And so I can only imagine how those guys on like pay-per-view felt. Like, we probably got the indie hits. The guys on pay-per-view get the pay-per-view hits. So I mean,
do you remember your hardcore match with BJ?
I do.
I can only imagine that you just got the crap kicked out of you.
I did. Hey, man, but you know what, dude? BJ, he did his part too, man. He gave me mine. He let me get some stuff in, which I was not expecting. I was really expecting him to just go out there and bury me, and I would have been completely fine with it, I'm like, whatever, man, it happens. But he was like, no, like, get your stuff in, and he helped me out a lot that night, man. I remember that. In fact, I remember that night because Saturdays they didn't use copywritten music.
Yeah.
And so this night, I guess, was different because they technically weren't taping for TV. It was a DVD taping. So they used copywritten music. Well, I'm expecting, I'm not going to get my normal song, right? So they were like, just go when you hear music. So music plays. I walk out the curtain, get in the ring, and I'm standing in there. And I remember walking around. I'm thinking to myself, like, man, are they going to cut the music? Where's BJ at? And I look at, I think it was Travis Baxter was ring announcing. And I was like, Travis, like, what's up? And he goes, do you hear the music they're playing? So I kind of listen, and I can hear I Love Rock and Roll by Britney Spears over the loudspeaker. So they tried to rib me, and I'm like, I just kind of shook my head, like, I'm not even going to sell it. Not even going to sell it. Nope. Like, I already got out to the ring. I'm already out here. If I sell it now, like, not even going to sell. I'm not even getting the benefit.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And then they realized, like, he's not selling it. Send BJ out. And then Turner came out and killed me. So
yeah. But BJ was a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah, he was.
I remember going up seeing him at XPW in Denton.
Yep.
Went over and watched him over there. That's when Keith Lee's mom was trying to fight everybody.
That's right. Oh God.
Keith Lee wrestled at XPW in Denton, Texas at this time. And his mama didn't know.
Well, She tried to fight people at PCW too. She just had a
She did,
guardrail there.
and everybody's like, Keith, tell your mama. No, mom believes, and I'm not taking that from her. She kills somebody over Keith.
Oh.
I could just see her showing up to WWE or AEW wanting to fight.
God, he was a nice lady too.
That's the first thing I think about when I see Keith Lee.
Oh man, yeah, dude, that was. She'd be up around walking around that ring, man, just getting ready to just. You didn't know what she was gonna do.
Yeah. Hey, our Willie Buck, one of our biggest supporters, wants to know, what is your favorite wrestling show there?
Oh man, honestly, I guess out in probably DFW area, I'd have to say it's probably a tie between SOAR Wrestling, SOAR, SOAR Championship Wrestling, or probably King of Sports.
Now, King of Sports also is an alliance, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
I thought so because I referee for Legacy Championship Wrestling here, and they're a member of King of Sport.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I know he's got quite a few promotions down here in like the Southeast region.
As a matter of fact, Nobi's their champion, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah, so
I think Tim told me Nobi was a champion.
Which is good, man. I like Nobi. I mean, that's good, dude. Nobi's still, shoot, man, he's been doing this longer than me, and that dude's still going strong. Like, he ain't lost a step.
Oh, yeah. I remember I refereed for Nobi quite a bit when I first got started.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, Nobi, like, dude, you've been doing this, like, longer than me, and I'm over here ready to retire because my back hurts. You're still going like this is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, man, and like I said, SOAR ran by Sir Mo, former Men on a Mission.
Right.
I think, yeah, he runs a pretty good one too. But I'd say those are probably my two top ones down here. Obviously, just as far as like shows go in general, man, MPX is I think kind of the bar because they're weekly, running out of their own building. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good shows down here, man. VIP, DFW All Pro. Shoot, man, Onslaught. Like I could go on and on. You got a show almost down every corner in Dallas right now. So it's a good
yeah. I mean, MPX is moving. I mean, now they're traveling to Grand Prairie to work the Epic. Evolve's coming in doing it. I mean, it's a good time. I mean, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan in Texas.
Yeah, it's a good time to be a wrestler in Texas too if you need to get paid. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not as bad as it used to be.
No, it's not. It's really
and one of my favorite places that we wrestled was at the for Fuller over at the Bazaar on Garland Road, Mexican Bazaar.
Oh man,
it was ring time, man.
It was ring time.
It was ring time, and we could get Coca-Cola in a glass bottle. We could get street corn,
and then you can go do some shopping while you're there.
Yeah, I mean it was.
But it was
always a fun time.
When I say it was a hole in the wall, I mean it was a literal hole. Like you walk through a hole in the wall to get to the venue.
Yeah, I mean we were in a tiny room. I think you could only get like one row of chairs. Like maybe 4 rows of chairs over on the wall, 1 row of chairs down the wall.
Yep.
I mean,
that was that's the same building, man, where I got to wrestle Necro Butcher.
I mean, the ring was kind of bowed in a little bit. It wasn't a great ring.
No, definitely not. But like I said, I mean, I got memories, man. Like I said, dude, Necro Butcher. I mean, that was, I think, right when the Wrestler came out too. So his popularity kind of peaked.
Oh, I've still got. He let me be a ring announcer. He let me try ring announcing.
Yeah.
This thing, Fuller would let you try anything. I mean,
he was pretty open about doing a lot of stuff, man. Like
I know I had to go out I went out to the parking lot and help Slick with his bags because he had Slick booked on that show. One of those shows had Dole King there and Slick. I wasn't ring announcing with Dole King there.
And yeah, I forgot that he did. He brought in some talent to that show too.
It was, but I mean, I knew that even if it was just a crappy show, I was going to get that street corn.
There you go.
That's good times, man.
Dude, it was. Oh man, I mean, we could go on and on about all this. Shoot, like, just
I know
a lot of good memories.
but we're at an hour 10, and I appreciate your time. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm going to let you get in the house and play with that little girl. She's probably going nuts knowing you're out in the car.
Shit, she's probably getting ready to go to bed right now. So she's probably getting ready to do. But
I'm going to be in Dallas in October. I planned my vacation middle of the month. And,
okay.
if I can get there a few days, I want to get around and see everybody, because when I go in for the weekends, I mean, it's seeing Sarah and the kids, it's seeing Brittany and Ricky. I mean, when you got 2 daughters and and then trying to, hang with my friend Junior and Cheryl, it's just, there's not enough hours in the weekend for me to see everybody. So I'm going to take my vacation to come spend the week in Dallas.
What week? Do you know your dates yet?
That Saturday is the 19th. So I'm going to be there the week of the 19th.
Okay. All right. Yeah, man. Message me and let me know.
I'll do it.
So I'm sure we'll have to do this again, man. I think we missed a lot.
I know.
A lot. We didn't even get to it.
And I hate because you attacked Eagle, and that would have put you over with Amy, because she can't stand Eagle. Eagle called her a stupid lady or something, and
well,
I mean Amy started it, but Amy does that. Amy starts crap and she never apologizes. I mean, she might be wrong, but she's all in when she's wrong.
Well, yeah, man. Well, like you said, we'll have to do this again, because I mean, man,
please do. Maybe we get Chris too, and we get both y'all on here.
Oh yeah, both of us do it.
Yeah.
Well, let me know. I'll have to hit him up and tell him, man, mark off a Tuesday and let's do this.
We'll do it.
And we'll maybe we'll tell some of them WWE backstage stories we got to do when we did some of that a few times.
There's so much we left, but
yeah,
we'll definitely get you back on here. I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight.
Man, Dave, I appreciate it, man.
I've just been wanting to catch up with you, and if I have to do it on my podcast, so even better. I mean,
yeah, I mean, hey, the bright side is, dude, I mean, I know we don't text often, but we text every
now and then.
So I was
Richard says that he looks forward to hearing from me once a year on his birthday.
There you go.
Because I tell him happy birthday, he goes, all right, I'll talk to you again next year.
There you go, dude. I ain't gonna lie, I was stoked, man, when you messaged me on Sunday and asked me to do this. I was like, yeah, let's knock it out. Or I guess it was Saturday. Either way, I was just glad that you had. I'm so glad you did. I was glad that you hadn't changed phone numbers, because people get random texts now, because they'll fish for you. Like, so I could see that that text I sent, if it would have been somebody else, would have thought it was one of those fishing texts. Well, good. I get them all the time now. Like, good news, hey, I figured me and you have texted enough recently that surely you still got the same numbers. Well, I know, but you'd also started your other Facebook page, so that's true. That's true. Well, man, I was holding my breath. I was holding my breath for the response. I just had to give a glimpse to the real life, man, for those who are lucky enough to see it. So yeah. But well, thank you again for coming on, and we'll catch you down the road. Absolutely, Dave. I'll talk to you soon, man. Thank you. Love you, buddy. Love you too, bro. All right. Bye. Kristopher Haiden, everybody. Before we get into AEW, I saw a post today on Facebook that really, really popped me, and I'm going to share it with y'all. We're going to get into Amy's not here tonight. She's not feeling well, so I'm manning the ship by myself, and it worked out because me and Hayden have been friends for so long that I knew me and him we talked for an hour and wouldn't get everything covered. And let me pull this down because it's not conducive to pictures, but this popped me. Our Kobe Rutland, who sometimes records and broadcasts
matches for BIW. Said he's going to tell his kids this is Big and Rich. This got all over me because Jeff Jarrett, that's back in his picture money days. Look at Jeff Jarrett. Look how young he looks. But that's Billy Joe Travis. And I think I honestly think that Jeff Jarrett got the idea for using the guitar from Billy Joe Travis. They were a team a little bit, but then they also had one heck of a feud in USWA. But I'm going to tell my kids this is Big and Rich got all over me, and the picture of Jeff Jarrett there. And I don't know. I thought it was funny. I hope y'all think it's funny too. I want to thank everybody that's been rolling with us in the chat. Tim Robinson's here. Andrew Hermes is here. Man, I'm telling you, when that street corn at that Mexican bazaar, it's on Garland Road, and I bet it's still there over in Dallas, Texas, Casa Linda area. I used to love that we were going to be able to get Mexican street corn over there. That's elote, if you will, but I just call it Mexican street corn. Willie Mack's here. Gianni Martello is here. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Man, what do I want to talk about next? I should have brought it up with Chris while he was here because I wanted to do this. We did the gimmick, the medics. I was the chief of staff, Dr. Phil D. Payne. My wrestlers wore masks with scrubs. And I used to tell Mike, I'd say, hey, Mike, why don't we get one of those? Why don't we get like a fake syringe, like one of those props where, the needle goes in? No, I'm not talking about really sticking somebody. But instead of doing that old spot where the manager would jump up with chloroform and a rag and make a wrestler go to sleep, I'll jump up and I'll stab one of them with this syringe, and they'll just get real groggy and they'll pass out, and we'll cover them 1, 2, 3, and then they're laying there and have to be carried out. And it was and Mike was a promoter too. He said, we can't do that with the needles. No needles, no syringes. That's too much. He thought it was a good idea, and it worked with the doctor gimmick, but he thought it was a horrible idea. And this was in 2009, or late 2009, early 2010 that I had this idea. No, 2009. But here I am 15 years later to tell y'all that a syringe in wrestling is a horrible idea. Because now that I've seen it, I mean, you got Hangman there with Swerve. And then he puts it in his mouth. Man, this is disturbing. That's disturbing. That image is disturbing. I mean, he's sitting there with and I like Swerve. But Swerve drinking the blood that time. And now we're using syringes. And I mean, I'm not comfortable with it. And I'm glad that I was prevented from doing it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, somebody put a picture of the hypodermic needle up on that and said Hep C is all elite. And I don't know, man, but that's too far. I mean, the cinder block was a lot. The cinder block was a lot in that match. It was a violent match, but man, we got to get away from things that we know. I mean, Tony Khan needs to just tell them every now and then, that's not a good idea. Let's don't do that. I mean, especially blood spots. I mean, I watched MJF attack Daniel Garcia, and Daniel Garcia got blood on it, was bleeding, and Max got it on him, and he wiped it off and then started licking the blood off his fingers. And man, I'm just not comfortable with that. It's just, the shock value that they're trying to do doesn't, I mean, I'd like to know how you younger people feel about it, honestly. Maybe am I wrong for thinking that blood spots and hypodermic needles is maybe something that we don't need. And it's not necessary. I already had a steel cage. The cinder block, they did some spots on the cinder block. The greatest cage match that I've ever seen in my life is Magnum TA Tully Blanchard. The only foreign object that we got in there, of course, he did hit him with the microphone too, because it was an I Quit match. What I'm saying is the wooden chair became part of the finish, but the cinder block was brought in and dropped, and it didn't break because they were showing that this isn't bullshit. This is a real cinder block. I brought the cinder block in this match. I think the cage is enough. I don't think you need all that to tell the story. Maybe Nana could have thrown the cinder block in later. I saw the backdrop, the vertebreaker, the drop down on the Hangman took that, and man, wrestling's an art. You don't have to look like you've been to war. I mean, you got a few scars on your head and you bled. You bleed from your head. Maybe your arm bleeds a little from hitting a cage, but we don't have to try to kill each other. I mean, I know it was lights out. I don't know, man. These guys, they're trying. There's too much. It's too much. I mean, it's a great match. It was a great match. I mean, it was exciting. But I tuned out. I tuned out on Dynamite after the blood spot. I wasn't engaged anymore. That turned me off. Hypodermic needles turned me off. And I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I'm with Andrew said that it was. Andrew said that everything else in the match was fine, and he's right. It was a hell of a match. I can't believe that Hangman went over. Heather Whitley saying that someone was trying to defend the spot this week, said they use it in hardcore match, and it's just water. I know, but I mean, there wasn't like a disclaimer across the screen, and I don't know, man. It's no defending that. It's not necessary. I mean, you said it was just water. Now, I mean, if you're going to use it, I don't even get why did we put it in his mouth? Why did we stick it in his arm? Go in there, stab him in the neck with it. Stab him in the neck with it. Let him stagger around and pass out. And at least it made sense. Wouldn't have been any better. And I don't know. I'm old man barking at clouds at this point. You know, we talked to Hayden a minute ago about belts, and he was talking about it. People have stepped up their belt game. They damn sure have, and they did it thanks to Big Time Belts. Big Time Belts over at Facebook.com. Go over there, join the group. Let's let Muhammad Zubair make your belt dreams come true. The Queen of the Summit champion came from Big Time Belts. Our good friend Tim that we talked about a lot tonight. The AMW tag team belt came from there. All of his AMW belts are coming from Big Time Belts. And man, he's happier than a puppy with poo Peter. So, I mean, look at the craftsmanship on this. He's not spending a great deal of money, low prices, high quality. Big Time Belts. Football's here. Get your football champion. I mean, let the winner of your league get a belt from Big Time Belts. And I'm looking forward to showing you in the weeks ahead. Big Time Belts is the official sponsor for the Ram Network Fantasy Football League. The winner of the Ram Network's Fantasy Football League is going to get a belt. And I can't wait to unveil it and show it to everybody. I thought that I had a really good chance in week one of coming out ahead on our league. And I gambled that Christian McCaffrey was going to play last night. He said it was questionable, but all the reports I read that he thought he was going to be able to play. Turns out that he's a bitch, and didn't play. So I lost. I lost to TJ Stevens last night, and I don't know that with him I would have won, but it was close going into Monday night's game, and they showed him on the sidelines. I was out at the restaurant. I was at a restaurant eating dinner, and I saw him on the sidelines. The street closed, and I was like, "Well, screw me running. This is not good." So, anyhow, let's move this thing right along into, we got too many songs.
It's time for Amy's trivia. Think you have the facts? Let's play and see.
Amy's trivia without Amy and without a producer. But let's do this. I guess we're going to do Psycho Sid trivia in honor of his passing. What state was Sid Justice born in? And we're going to have to go to the chat, because if I get these right, y'all are going to say I'm cheating. We got anybody left out there that wants to answer this question? What state was Sid Justice born in? Was it A, Washington, B, Oregon, C, Wyoming, or D, Idaho? I'm trying to figure which one of these states the big corn-fed son of a bitch came from, because he was a monster of a man. Andrew says Idaho. I say Idaho. It was Washington. Go figure. Go figure. And I know who was credited for being Sid's trainer? Randy Savage, Jerry Lawler, Tojo Yamamoto, or Bill Dundee? He came out of Memphis. I'm going to say that he worked with 3 out of those 4. I'm definitely going to say Tojo on this one, because I think Tojo was doing the training in Memphis. Andrew's going to go Bill Dundee. Willie Buck knew that last one was Washington. Tojo Yamamoto. I got that one right. But because I knew that the other three would have worked with him, but I'd heard Jeff Jarrett talk about Tojo doing a lot of training. What year did Sid debut? 84, 85, 86, or 87? I'm going to say he debuted in 87. I know his match when he came to the Sportatorium against Kerry Von Erich was 88. We got him down here in 88. I think 87. Andrew says 86. I know he debuted as, and then see, I don't know if this is a trick question though. Was it Sid or Lord Humongous? So let's look. 87. Sid debuted in 87. But I'd like to know if he was under the mask in 86 as Lord Humongous. We got a bonus question. Do you know the year Sid Vicious officially retired? Officially retired. Was it 99 or 2000 when he broke his leg? But I think he tried. I'm going to say we just heard this on Pritchard. Did he officially retire in 2003? Tried to come back? Well, when did he beat up Heath Slater? Maybe 2006? He broke his leg in January of 2001. I'm going to say 2006. I thought it was 3, but it's probably 6. 2017. Wow. I didn't know that he was still having matches that long. At which WrestleMania did Sid lose the WWF Championship to The Undertaker? Man, Willie Buck's on fire. Willie Buck is on fire getting all these. I know Andrew's going to know this one. Which WrestleMania did Sid lose the WWF Championship to The Undertaker? Was it WrestleMania 11, 12, 13, or 14? I think that was really nice that Amy really just kind of bunched them all together there instead of just spreading them out. Main event in Chicago, WrestleMania 13, according to Andrew. I have no clue, so I'm gonna jump on there with Andrew. Willie Buck says it was 11. Let's see. It was 13. Andrew on the board. Look at you go, kid. Look at you go. In WCW, how many different championships did Sid win? Probably 2. I don't remember him being a champion a whole lot in WCW. So I would go 2. Looking over at the chat. Andrew thinks it's 2 world titles. It was 2. I couldn't really remember. I knew that he had it at least once, but I wouldn't have bet that he had it twice. So I knew that had to be a low number. Question 6. What was the name of the pay-per-view where Sid received a compound fracture of his left leg, which kept him from the ring for roughly 3 years? Was it Sin, Mayhem, Greed, or Uncensored? In 2001, would that have been Greed? Andrew knew that he did it in 2001. So Andrew's saying Sin, and I said Greed. It was Sin. Andrew's coming back. He may make it to 500 if we got another question. Let's see. Question 6 is a bonus. At Sin, who was Sid attempting to give a jumping big boot from the second turnbuckle when the move went wrong, causing the compound fracture? At Sin, who was Sid attempting to give a jumping big boot from the second turnbuckle when the move went? I didn't know he was trying to give a big boot. I thought he was doing an axe handle. But Andrew was super quick with Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner is the correct answer. Andrew is batting 500. Look at you go, kid. He's almost catching Willie Buck, who's probably about 850 at this point. And that's it on trivia. That is it on trivia. Let's talk about. I was going to review AEW's All Out. It was a good show. I'm not going to break them all down. I think that, MJF and Daniel Garcia had a good match. And then I think the fuck finish with the low blow kind of took away from it. I don't think that you should be able to survive pile drivers off the second top rope. It's a good match. Good match. I didn't care for the finish on that one, but it's still a good match. I guess we will break it down. Why not? After that, we had the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks and the Blackpool Combat Club. It was really not. It wasn't really a dirty match or anything. The Bucks win. It was a clean win. So, You know, the Yuta and Castronoli used the Bucks' own double team move against them. That was awesome. Castanoli with that swing, you know, probably at least 20 times there. But they won. We had Will Ospreay and Pax, probably it ain't probably the match of the night. It was the match of the night. Both men hit corkscrew moonsaults. Ricochet. Why are they? Quit showing wrestlers watching it from backstage. Let's quit that. I mean, be different, then. That's overdone. It's overdone in WWE. Let's quit watching them from the back. And now that I said that, I guess watching it in the back's better than them walking out on the ramp watching it. This fast-paced match. They paced themselves pretty good. You know, Ospreay goes over with the hidden blade. Like I said, I can't imagine this hitting a 5-star match by Meltzer. It was, you know, they did a great job. They did a really great. I mean, Will Ospreay's best wrestler in the world right now. I firmly believe that, and I'm saying that in the company that Kitsuko Okada's there, who I have been saying I'm a huge fan of Okada. But man, Will Ospreay, and I don't like that. Y'all know that I don't like that flip flop fly style of wrestling. But man, with Will Ospreay does it, it's just a thing of beauty. I'm into it. I dig it. Willow and Statlander did not go like I thought. Statlander wins in the street fight. We used a chain to apply submission, but Statlander defeated her, is now the CMLL championship. I honestly didn't think that championship would change hands outside of Mexico. So Stokely had rest in peace New Jack on a chair, which I thought was kind of fun. Statlander spear off the stage through the tables. You know, the women stepped up. I mean, I think Statlander, I'm a huge fan of Willow. I think Willow and Statlander really go out there and they're holding their own in that women's division for sure. Next we're going to have Okada. Defending against Tashida, Briscoe, and Orange Cassidy. I tried watching Rampage the night before. They were having it was Collision on Friday night. They had 3 matches to determine who was going to be in this match, and they couldn't have been any more obvious about who was going to be in this match. And I was kind of put off by that I think you could have put some, you know, they didn't have to be obvious I mean, if you're going to have those matches to determine who's going to be on the show, don't make them so obvious. You know, Okada wins. Rainmaker on Cassidy, which kind of surprises me. He got the win over Cassidy. I'm glad to see that they didn't do that to Takeshita. I've been calling him Take a Shitta for so long. I can't get his name right most of the time. Man, don't get me started about light tube swords. I'm trying to be nice, and I'm gonna pick on some shit in a minute anyway. Mercedes Moné and Sheeta. That was a piss break. I'm not going to talk about it. Bryan Danielson and Jack Perry. Wasn't excited about this. Y'all know I'm not a big fan of Perry. The referee screwed this one up. Plain and simple. Bryce, you know, he didn't need to reach over there, and I mean, we shouldn't have seen him. I've never had to, I've never had to give somebody the Iggy to kick out. So, I mean, I watch it through the eyes of a referee. Great match. I like that Christian Cage and the Patriarchy were going to try to cash in. I like that the Blackpool Combat Club stopped them from doing it. And Claudio turning on Danielson. I like this. I really like it. This I like. You're making him a baby. Yuta's torn. I want to see Yuta turn on him too. I want to see this like a 2-part turn that he thinks he can trust Yuta and he can't. Because I like Yuta being in I think Yuta needs to be in the Blackpool Combat Club. I don't know that he's ready to be off on his own. I don't know what they do with him. I'm afraid he gets lost in the shuffle. I think they need to give him a vicious streak, and he needs to do something to Danielson. Danielson thinks he can trust him. Good stuff on that turn. And then we've talked about the cage match already. I don't need hypodermics. I don't need hypodermics in my match. I think that was too far, too much. I think Swerve should have won that match, though. Now we've seen Swerve lose the title. We've seen him lose a cage match against Hangman. It's just a weird. I mean, to me, Hangman's a heel, Swerve's a face. Where do they go from here? I mean, if this should have been a blow-off match on this feud, but where do you go from here? I mean, Hangman took his grill from it, ripped his grill out of his mouth, stuck a nail in his mouth. This shit reminds me of that Bugs Bunny cartoon. Bugs and Daffy are on the stage. Bugs would do something and the crowd would pop, and it would be very little, just something simple like a tap dance. Crowd pops. Daffy does like a bigger production and crickets. Bugs does something, the crowd pops. Daffy does something, crickets. Finally, Daffy drinks nitroglycerin, eats dynamite. He's doing all these explosive deals, lights a match, blows himself up. He's floating up to heaven. And Bugs says, "What are you going to do for an encore?" That's what I'm asking. What are y'all going to do for an encore? After that, we've watched attempted murder in a steel cage, unsanctioned lights out, attempted murder match. What are we going to do next? I mean, we burnt a man's house down, which they hot-shotted burning a house down. I guarantee you, if that spot would have been on WWE, we would have seen the house 3 weeks earlier. That would have been 3 weeks earlier. They would have planted the seed, and then he would have set it on fire, but not on the same damn night. I mean, I saw the clip on social media. They showed the clip on Dynamite. I knew they were going to burn the house down. Also, I don't know. I just thought if Swerve was going to go buy his childhood home, I saw it coming a mile away. But bless him for trying. So good pay-per-view. I mean, there was little things in it that didn't hit for me, but again, I'm not their target audience. It's not supposed to hit for me. So they're getting to where it used to none of it hit for me, to where some of it hits from me. Now where most of it's hitting from me. So I think AEW is on the right course, but they got to cut down some of the stupid shit. And, Mark Henry worked there, and Mark Henry criticized Bryce Remsburg for what he did in that match. And Bryce responded to it, and Bryce gets in his feelings about being criticized. And I don't really blame him, but I mean, what he did, I don't know, man. I don't think you do that. I mean, there's things you do where everybody's like, what did you do that for? So, I mean, if it's all bullshit and you're not going out of your way to hide that it's all bullshit, then you know, those are the things that take people out of it. And Mark Henry criticized it, but Mark Henry doesn't work there anymore. Somebody that works there needs to criticize it. Somebody that works there needs to get our, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. If you're trying to be like ECW where the rules don't matter, then change the name of it to All Extreme Wrestling. And then we know, hey, it's the Wild West. The referee's just there to count the three, but they're not going to stop anything. But while we're pretending that there's rules to this thing, y'all got to quit burying them referees so much. And, you know, when it happens, I mean, like I said, y'all know I watch through the eyes of the referee. It's a referee's perspective on Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave, because Pondwater Dave's a referee. And I've made mistakes in the ring too. So, I mean, that was a mistake. I'm not kicking him for it. I mean, he made a mistake, but don't do it on pay-per-view. But I mean, even WWE, who doesn't too often have referees making mistakes, they had one that didn't count three. They had one that, you know, they missed the shoulder. They missed the shoulder not being down, but they were smart enough to make it a story. I don't know, guys. Y'all just either let's get some continuity. Let's get some continuity, because you're getting better. You're getting a lot better. Like I said, I couldn't stand to watch it to where some of it was okay. Now it's where most of it's okay. I mean, there's no buyer's remorse on buying these things. So, you know, and Andrew's saying you didn't mention Rick Knox and the Texas Tornado rules the Bucks wrestled under. When you see Rick Knox out there, you know he's just out there to count three. It is what it is. But if the Bucks are in a Texas Tornado match, it's fine. If the Bucks are in a three-way where there's no rules, it's fine. But if you're just putting a referee over there, and you know, we talked about with WWE last week that they buried the girls did Fire and Ice. They wouldn't not Fire and Ice. Isla Dawn and Fire. They wouldn't let go of Bianca's hair. The referee counted 5. So I'm just saying, if you're not going to have rules, their current style of refereeing works. But if you're not going to have, I mean, if you're going to have rules, you got to quit burying them. You got to quit burying them, because now it's a focal point. It takes away from the product. And you got these guys out here busting their asses. I mean, I'm not an AEW hater, but I do hate some of the things that they do. They got to get out of their own way. And you can't be, I mean, I know it's pay-per-view, but these blood spots, I don't have a problem with blood. Use blood. When y'all do something that somebody should bleed, let them bleed. I'm for it if it makes sense. I'm not one of those that don't think that everybody, you probably shouldn't have multiple spots in one night, but I'm not one of those. If you do something to somebody's head and they don't bleed, I would much rather see a little blood or something. But I don't need to see somebody wiped blood. I don't need to see somebody wipe the blood off and lick it. We got to quit doing that, because you're going to turn, I mean, you're wanting a TV deal. They got to sell some sponsorships, and there comes a point that there's some things people don't want to be associated with. So let's tone that down on television a little bit. Let's protect these guys from themselves. And maybe, just maybe, we don't want to ever use hypodermic needles again in the ring. That's just me. Okay. But I mean, but hey, I'm for you. On my jar rating system, that's a 4 jar. Even with all the stuff that I didn't care for it, I give you 4 jars on that presentation, which is amazing coming off of Wembley to do that bouncing back that quick. I wasn't crazy about some of the booking, but y'all made it work. So, I mean, there you go. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and hate on them. Hey, Samoan Watchman's here. What's up, man? Glad you're here. With that being said, I want to take a minute to tell you about the RAM Network. The RAM Network is over at patreon.com/RAM Network for just $5 a month. We're giving you lots of great wrestling content, world-class flashback. We've got world-class flashback. We got Audience with the Belt Pope. We've got Just Put It in Your Mouth. We've got I Was There, where we're talking about some of the greatest shows that have ever been put on. That T-Weave will have whoever was there at the show talk about that show. We'll recap it, talk about why it was special to them. We've got so much. Footballers is on there by the FFP. All of our podcasts you can see on there. I mean, you don't have to pay for our podcasts; they're free anyway. We've got Hard Times and Beyond, the Crockett era, Crockett 86, 87 era. We've got WWE's New Generation, with Andrew and Dave and HSV. Who else we got on there? We've got Power of the Pen. Amy and TJ will get with wrestling authors and review books. There's so much content going on over at the RAM Network on Patreon, patreon.com/RAM Network, just $5 a month. Give us a try. We think that it's well worth your $5, and we appreciate your support. Speaking of the TNA Top 10, Andrew, Allison Faye, and T-Weave this week, their TNA Top 10 is top 10 salad dressings. Well, that was a fun one because I don't eat 10 different salad dressings, so I had to give some thought to it. That was a fun one. There every week. You catch them on Facebook. They post their polls. Vote on the polls. That makes for a better show. Getting lots of participation on those polls. They've done top 10 dog breeds. They've done. They also do their college football. They do 2 hours. They'll do wrestling. Like this week, they got the salad dressing. Allison Faye was actually at All Out, so their recap of that's going to be very interesting. Their football reviews. I mean, it's going to be real heavy with Nebraska talk because Andrew loves Nebraska, and he's not one of those fans that's going to tell you they're going to win the national championship. He's not like that, but there's lots of Nebraska talk on that show. But that's how it is. He's drinking the Kool-Aid, that's for sure. But Nebraska's playing really, really good football right now. They'll recap the college season, the college football, and it's a fun listen. TNA Top 10, you can get it wherever you download your podcast. You can catch them on Facebook. They record live Sundays. They did it Monday this week. Just watch that when they go live. It's a fun show. It's a fun show to watch live. They broke Colorado. The defense broke Colorado. I thought Colorado had a puncher's chance, but they didn't. Then we have FFP Filter Free Popcast. This week they're just doing footballers season preview. So those boys do a good job over there on the Filter Free Popcast, and you can get that wherever you steal your podcasts. Or you can catch it on they will also put it on the RAM Network, and check out their YouTube channel as well. This weekend, if you're in the West Monroe, Louisiana area, I'm going to be at Bayou Independent Wrestling. Bayou Independent Wrestling presents Chalk Outline Saturday, September 14th at the West Monroe Civic Center Convention Center. Tickets are $15 in advance, $20 at the door. Angel Camacho is getting his rematch for the Southern Championship against Bam Bam Malone. Bam Bam's been a fighting champion. He's finally given Angel Camacho his rematch. We're gonna have Ray Fury versus Caleb Conley. This is their rubber match. They're tied at one match apiece. I'm super excited anytime we get Caleb Conley in town. Then We got Rob Love against Steve Anthony. Steve Anthony is madder than hell because Vordell Walker set him on fire recently. He's down, but he's not out. But under normal circumstances, Steve Anthony's a hell of a wrestler. But he's plenty pissed right now. Vordell's done kicked the hornet's nest. Cassandra Golden's defending the women's championship against Ray Lynn. That's going to be and that and much more. Chalk outline, Bayou Independent Wrestling, West Monroe Convention Center. But there's never a bad show with, and I don't even know why I call it a show. It's more of an event when Bayou Championship Wrestling is holding an event. It's family friendly, great action. West Monroe's is our hotbed. It's our biggest town, and it's going to be a hell of a show. I'll assure you that you're going to love it. Join us next week. We'll be back here. Hopefully, Amy's going to be back with me next week, and I won't have to do it solo. It'd be nice if I could get if we don't have softball next Tuesday. Maybe we get the producer too. A lot of our sports are being pushed to next week because there's a tropical storm in the Gulf. It's coming in. It's gonna come through, and it's headed right for Natchez, which is 45 minutes from me. We're gonna get a lot of bad weather off of this hurricane. Keep people down on the coast in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully this won't be a bad storm, But I have not experienced a hurricane yet that's hit this area. I have been through a tropical storm, and it was pretty bad. I mean, trees down, power out. It was something. And I'm 3 hours from New Orleans, so I didn't think that it would hit that hard up here. And I'm assured. I mean, I've had people tell me how bad Katrina was, so we don't want any of this up here in Utica, Mississippi. So hopefully that'll just blow right through, and we'll be back with you next Tuesday on Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. Thank you for joining us. Good night, everybody.